Let's have a look at rounding some numbers. First, we're going to have a look at what rounding is. Then we're going to have a look at how you round a number. And then lastly, we're going to have a look at an example of why you might need to know how to round numbers. So what is rounding? Say someone asked you how many people were at the football. You might say that there was 25,000 people at the football. But was it really 25,000? Perhaps it was actually 24,800 people. But pretty sure it probably wasn't exactly 24,800. It was probably more like 24,840 people. Or even it could have been 24,835. All of these responses are somewhat correct, but the last one was much more precise than the first one. So when we round numbers, we change them so that they are less precise but easier to work with. When we're rounding numbers, you might like to use a number line or think of placing them on a number line. That number 24,835, if we were to try and work out whether it's closer to 24,000 or 25,000, it might look like this. And as you can see, it is much closer to 25,000. If we go a little bit more precise and see if it's trying to work out, round it to either 24,900 or 24,800, we can see that it is closer to 24,800. And lastly, if we're going to go and round it to the tens column, you can see that perhaps it might be actually right in the middle of 24,830 and 24,840. So, how do we know how to round a number? Firstly, we need to know how precise we need it to be. So in this first example, we're going to round to the nearest thousand. Let's take the number 54,627. Change that. We'll make that 54,625 for reasons you'll find out later on. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is identify which number is going to be our target number that we're going to be changing. And in this case, because we're rounding to the thousands, it's going to be the digit 4 that we're going to be changing or keeping the same. Now, our first step is to make everything to the right of that number 0. And in most cases, everything to the left will remain the same. Now, the rule for rounding is if the number is less than 5, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then the number will stay the same. If it is 5 or greater, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we're going to add 1 to our target number. Now, we need to look at the number to the right to figure out whether it is either greater than 5 or less than 5. And in this case, you can see the number 6 is greater than 5, so we're going to add 1 to this number 4. So we round our number up to 55,000. Let's have a look at another example. Using the same number, 54,625, this time we're going to have a look at rounding to the nearest 100. So in this case, this is the number that's going to change. The numbers to the right, we're going to make zeros, and the numbers to the left are going to stay the same. Right, now we need to have a look at the number to the right, and it's a 2. Going back to our rule, if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4, it's going to stay the same. So we simply write the same. So the number 54,625 rounded to the nearest hundred is 54,600. One last example, and this is one that could be a little bit tricky. So taking that same number again, 54,625, this time we're rounding to the nearest 10. So everything to the right we make a 0, everything to the left stays the same. Now on this side, to the right of the number, we've got the number 5, and if we were to place that on a number line between 20 and 30, the number 25 is right in the middle, which is why we have the rule, if it ends in 5, we're going to add 1 to this number. So 54,625 rounded to the nearest 10 will be 54,630. Right, let's have a look at one last example. And this is one of those special cases where the numbers to the left might actually change. Alright, let's say we take this number and we're going to round it to the nearest 10. So this is our number that's going to stay the same. Everything to the right of it's going to be a 0. Now if we look at the number to the right, it's greater than 5, so we need to add 1. Which means this number is going to be 10. But we know we can't put a 10 in the 10 place, so we take our 1, we're going to add it to this one. 1 plus 9 is 10. We need to add our 1 to this side. 1 plus 9 is 10. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So 19,999 rounded to the nearest 10 will be 20,000. Alright, lastly, let's have a look at an example. Let's say your mum sends you to the shop to buy some milk and some bread. And she says that with the leftover money, you can buy as many lollies as you can afford. So once you're at the shop, you see that milk is $2.85 and bread is $3.70. How do you work out how many lollies you're going to be able to afford? Well, you could get out your calculator if you carry on with you, but if you don't, we can simply round. So this number here, $2.85, is very close to $3. This number $3.70 is very close to $4. And we can add $3 and $4 much easier than adding $2.85, $3.70. If we know our rainbow facts, we know that if we've got $7, that means that we have $3 left to spend. So how many lollies can we buy? Well, this number here is almost $1. So how many $1 can I get with $3? That would be 3. So I could get 3 lollies with the change. Alright, and that is rounding.